if you're a serious athlete, you have to do two things. Two commitments. Number one, you have to commit to being a serious athlete. A serious athlete goes into practice ready. A serious athlete, when I'm in the weight room, I'm serious. When I'm in school, I'm serious. Sure, you don't have to be a straight A student or a high school national champion, but you're serious about it, right? Your parents are serious. We had parents that got up at 2 a.m. yesterday morning and drove here while their kids slept in the back. They're serious. They want to help their kids. They're serious parents. They take their job seriously. You should take your job as an athlete or a student seriously. You should be serious. Your parents make sacrifices for you. You should be a serious member of your family, a productive member of your family, not a thorn in your parents' side. You should be serious. I had a great coach in college, Joe C. He preached things like this. He told us, you cannot be an All-American or national champ. It's highly unlikely that you will accomplish those things if your locker is messy. If you show up late to class and you sit in the back, he said be a serious student because it changes you as a person. Some people get excited when they slept in and skipped class and no one caught them because they got over on the system. They feel good about that. Some people feel good about getting up when the alarm goes off even though they're tired. They sit in the first 3 rows of class and they went to school and studied and were a serious student. They leave the classroom a changed person. And that was his approach. He said, it's not likely that you'll be successful. This will affect you because the whole thing is you want to, number one, be deserving of the success that you're seeking. But number two, you have to become a better person, a more competitive person, because other people are trying to take your grades, your job. They're trying to compete for you for the state title. They're going to wrestling camp for 10 or 14 days and they're taking it serious. They're getting more out of it than you. Sure, just like you can eat a McDonald's hamburger and it doesn't mean you're going to have a heart attack or be 100 pounds overweight, but you've knocked over that first domino. You do that very often, it will take its toll over time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years, it takes a toll. And that was Joe C's advice to us. This takes a toll. You should keep your car clean. You should sit in the front of class. You should be a good kid to your parents. You should be a serious wrestler. When you're in the weight room, you should be serious about what we're doing. And that was one of the lessons that I learned from him that I shared with our athletes today at competition camp. Not that I always did that. I've been a clown in my life, just like most of you listening to this have been clowns at something. But finally, year 2 of college, I started taking his advice. And the next, 3.5 years were pretty good for me, right? I was able to earn the #1 ranking in the nation my junior year. We got the death penalty, so I couldn't compete in NCAAs. But then I earned the #1 ranking again my senior year in Division I wrestling and was unable to win it. But I had great success and I've had some decent success since then. And I think about his advice very often. That's why my car is clean. Sure, maybe not spotless, but very, very clean. I put some kids in my car today and took them into town. And Brant says, Nick, your car is very clean. I go, I know, right? Because I have to have my car clean because it affects me when it's not, right? I'm not a clean freak, right? And I'm sure there's things that I could improve on. But I do know that that is advice that sometimes kids miss. All we're worried about at wrestling camp and practice is learning new techniques and drilling. But no, you have to change a little bit, right? You have to become a different human. You have to become a different person. You have to be more competitive than all the kids around you. I tell my kids, we want to be more competitive as a 12-year-old than the average 30-year-old man. super hungry, super competitive, right? And that comes back to being serious. So besides being serious, the second thing that you can do that will change your wrestling career is when you go somewhere, make sure you're all the way there. No distractions. Eliminate your distractions. People tend to worry about silly stuff. They do that in life, right? I've done it. You try to do homework and pretty soon you're paying attention to the TV or you're changing the radio. And then if you look at the course of the year, how much time you've wasted. Same way in wrestling. You shouldn't notice when the wrestling room door opens and someone walks in. You shouldn't notice. You should be extremely focused. A famous college coach taught me, he said, being focused means blocking out everything else. It's not really focusing on something. It's the ability to block everything out. That simply means I'm focused on practice, but when I do notice something, maybe some parents walk in the wrestling room door, I glance over, I glance away quickly because I caught myself, right? I'm learning to evaluate when I get distracted. So if you can learn to be a very serious person, have a lot of fun. When you're not in class, you should have fun. When you're hanging out in the locker room, you should have fun with your teammates, right? When it's not school time, you should be chilling and having fun, right? But when it's time for work, I learned to be very serious. Take it serious what you're doing. Secondly, learn to focus. There's a good saying. When you find yourself somewhere important, you want to be there, right? Your mind can't be elsewhere. We do that with little kids, and they're little kids, right? We teach them, but it takes some time. But certainly as you hit 11, 12, 13, and into high school, a lot of time your inability to focus just comes from your unwillingness, your undiscipline. That's the reason learning to block out the unnecessary. That was Coach's idea for being focused. Not just focusing on, because we do the good job of that, but we don't learn to self-evaluate. We don't really even know when we're off track. You don't realize how many times you look away from your homework assignment and get distracted, right? So learning to fully be where you're at, and I guess that comes down to being a serious athlete also, but you can strengthen your ability to focus. It's proven you can develop better focus if it's one of your goals on your goal sheet. You certainly can. So be a serious athlete, and when you're somewhere important, make sure you are all the way there and learn to block out the unnecessary. You do those two things and your wrestling will take a great big jump. Good luck to you guys.